couple months ago I put up how to process your own deer step by step. This is breaking down the front shoulder, and this is the front shank right here is what they call this. And I'm just kind of scoring around. I want to cut right above the elbow there, all the way in, and I'm just trying to work it around this ball joint right here. This joint's kind of tricky. That's a little lower than you always think, so you have to kind of go in there, then skin down just a hair to get it to pop. But once it pops, it's good to go. What I do with this piece of meat, I will take it and I will throw it in a crock pot. I mean, it's got plumb full of tendons. Most people just grind it, but it is very delicious once you get those tendons to break down and come apart, and it makes some really good pot roast. And once you get it real close to coming loose, you can just pop it over. I would next time just hang it off the edge of my cutting board and give it a good pop, and it'd probably come off a little quicker. But there you have it. There's the shank. I use that like a pot roast. Alright, now you got the rest of the upper front shoulder. I like to find this bone that runs down the center of it right there. You can find it with your fingers and just cut down with your knife. And then you're just going to fillet the meat off of the bone, just like so. You want a good sharp knife. You all know my brand, Raptor Razor. And this piece, you know, people who can you can take it off and make a roast out of it as well. My dad used to never grind any meat. He always cut roast, jerky, and steaks. I mean, that was it. That's all his deer was. Score the other side, and then come in and connect the two, and you get a little bit larger piece of meat off this front side, the front part of the shoulder. But you do it the exact same. Just fillet it right off the front shoulder until you get to the edge, and then I just cut it off in two big chunks. Like I said, I like to have some grind meat for deer chili and deer spaghetti and deer meatloaf and deer. I love the deer, so I usually grind up all my front shoulders just so I have enough ground meat. Turn it over here and trim that off. Then you're also going to want to trim some of this fat off, because I add my own fat. I add beef fat or pork fat sometimes, depending on what I'm making. If I'm making summer sausage to my grind, I'll add pork fat, but a lot of the time just to my ground meat like this, I will add beef fat. Trimming off that big chunk off the back now, get it trimmed up. And the reason I'm cutting off a lot of this fat is because there is a gland in this meat. It's right here, I believe. We'll take a look at it here in a little bit. There's a big old chunk of fat in the front shoulder. No, it's on the front of it, right up here. That's where it's at. And there's the same kind of piece in the hind quarters, exactly the same. There's a giant piece of fat in it, and it hides a gland. And I've never ate a deer gland, I don't think, and I don't think I want to, so I cut that out. Here's another chunk of grind meat, and one more big chunk of grind meat. Then I just kind of pick at it like a crow. Well, that's part of the tip of the backstrap right there. Anyway, I wanted to do this video. I talked about it on the step-by-step instruction video on how I break my deer apart. I'm not a professional. I probably don't know the proper names to none of this, but I have been doing this for over 20 years. I've never had my deer processed, so it's something I've learned from my uncle, my dad. You know, it's just That's how I do it, and it saves me a lot of money every year, especially if you're going to do 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 like I do. It looks pretty clean, and yeah, that right there go to the dogs. Here I'm going to show you the gland. That's all the waste we got. There's the gland right in the center of that sucker. Ugh, take that. I don't think I'd want to eat that. Hey, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. God bless. Love y'all. Learn how to do your own meat. You'll love it.